and welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast, the only fan-run podcast for all the ins and outs of the rugby world. We're into the thick of it with every league right now, and joining us once again is the happy-go-lucky Irishman, Andy. How you doing on, mate?
I'm good, mate. Enjoyed the weekend. Lots of rugby to get our teeth into.
Well, why not waste any time? We're going to go straight to the Prem, because I believe you were at the big one, at the big house. But starting on Friday night, it's a bit tighter. Bath versus Saracens. It was fun. It was okay. Very tight encounter. Proper arm wrestle, which we expected. Owen Farrell's book eventually being the winner. Speaking of Owen Farrell, stealing the show with his little argument.
Yeah, that clip was doing the rounds.
I loved that. I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah, I think so too. I think anyone who's played any sport, a bit of sledging, a bit of back and forth is a great part of it. I don't know why anybody would get negative about it. I love when it gets picked up on the ref mic.
It was just how quick he did it. Oh, shut up. I'm allowed to talk to him. And then just telling Luke Pierce, go and tell him this.
Yeah. Yeah, tell him. That's so funny. Tell him. But fair play to is it Anna, the guy who was giving it. I reckon there's definitely got to be someone like Owen Farrell's got a bit of an aura on the pitch. I think you definitely want, if you're in the Bath team, you want to see people trying to chip away at him a little bit and see if they can put him off.
Yeah. I mean, I know we wish Finn would have been the one to mouth off, because they seem to mouth off at each other all the time when they get to play. Yeah. Even when it wasn't actually Owen Farrell that did it. That's one of my favourite stories.
Yeah, that's great. The one from is that from the famous comeback, or is that from when Scotland won at Twickenham?
That's just from last year. Yeah, so I think it was Marcus Smith or something put Finn's head in the ground. Finn thought it was Owen, and then when Doohan was doing that beautiful run, Finn bumped on what are you saying to it now? And Owen's what are you on about? Yeah, love that. But yeah, Saracens getting a big win. Bath.
I wanted to ask actually, as a Scotland fan, do you think Bath maybe could have won that game if Finn was there?
I don't know.
It's a hypothetical, but
it
was so tactical at times. The kicking battle, I was just thinking this is made for Finn.
Yeah, probably. I think because Finn just has that little bit of let's just try this, and especially with this Bath team, it probably would have worked for the most part, but didn't expect Cameron Redpath to score from a maul.
No.
Interesting to see, but
he was straight in there as well. He couldn't wait to get in.
Straight in. Multi-man maul, not even just the forwards. Cameron Redpath getting on the end of it and scoring. Nice, happy days. And then instantly a bit ruined it for Bath on the other way.
Yeah,
but Saracens getting the win. Doesn't really change much for either team. They're still in the top. Both teams in the top four.
Well, I guess if it finishes that way, I think
again, it'll be
big psychological blow for Saris, right? Going and winning away, and then they've got to come to Stonex in the playoffs if it stays the same way. Could be tough.
It's never easy at the Stonex.
No.
But we're going down to Twickenham, and I'll let you take it over from here because Quins beat the Saints 41-32.
Yeah, it was a great game, first of all.
Defense doesn't exist, does it?
No, not in the second half, especially. It's just gone. Especially Saints scored a couple where it was just chaos. I think it was Ram's try, and then the try at the end. I think it was Law's one, but where one of the Quins players tried to kick it from his own in-goal line, and he kicked it about 7 meters, and then they just came straight back at them again. It was mad. But overall, yeah, Northampton weren't that clinical, right? Normally when they get in the red zone, you think they're going to score. And they were forcing passes, they were dropping balls, there were a few bits here and there where it just wasn't quite right. I just wonder if they had an eye on the Champions Cup.
Possible. That's fair.
Yeah. And Quins, they only play one way. It's just kamikaze kind of rugby, yeah. But there were some cool things to pull out. Marcus Smith hobbling off, didn't look good for Quins fans. But then Evans made a great try when he came on in place of him. So that was a great moment for him. That Will Porter looks a serious player.
He's definitely putting his hand up for an England call-up, isn't he?
He is, isn't he? Yeah. Trying to think what else. Laws I thought was great. And then obviously there was the refereeing stuff.
Can't we can't badmouth him. He's a friend of the show. We've had him on.
Oh, I wasn't going to badmouth him. Just like the chaos around that Danny Care decision, where it's like,
Yeah, he was going to card him, and then
yeah,
oh no, I've carded him already.
yeah, yeah. It was just,
I
yeah,
don't, I
difficult.
don't get why, and this isn't just Carl Dixon. This is just in general. I don't get why if they're if they've played previously professionally, don't let them
Just don't
near.
do it because it's
Yeah,
the thing is it's not fair on the ref. Like,
yeah,
don't put him in that position because he's just going to get loads of criticism for it, regardless of what happens. And then if
exactly.
something like this happens, there's a contentious decision. It's even worse for him. Like, I don't know why they don't just. It's such an easy problem to solve,
Yeah. Any other game, you could literally swap two referees around.
mate.
Make
In
no
the
difference.
Premiership 2 weeks ago, the league almost in football, the league almost exploded because there was a Luton fan in the VAR team for a Nottingham
Yeah,
Forest game, and they're like potentially in conflict. Like, I do think you should be thinking ahead like that. You should be like, we have to remove any possibility for people to undermine the credibility of the league. But
oh well.
what are you gonna do? Rugby is always going to do things the same old way, I suppose.
It's just a really stupid thing to do, though, isn't it? Here's Carl Dixon that's played, and it wasn't even like he had like a one season wonder. He played for ages. He won trophies with Quins.
I looked it up this morning. 169 appearances, I think it was.
Yeah, and he
Like, that's
won
a
the
lot
Prem,
of games.
won the Prem, won the Challenge Cup as well, I believe.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
I don't know if he was there for the Challenge Cup, but he's definitely won some silverware with
Yeah.
Quins. And like you just said, he's over 150 appearances. So the minute he's going to referee those teams, doesn't matter what the score is,
No.
people are going to be like, "Oh, but he's biased to his mates." Is
I,
he?
I really doubt it. Like, was he being biased when he missed the forward pass in the Ollie Slight home try? Was he being biased when he gave Quins the 3 yellow cards that he gave them? Like, I think it's obvious that he's doing the best he can in a
Yeah.
game that had a lot of incidents.
Hmm.
And just like players can't be 100% every game, refs can't be 100% every game either. But when you accuse someone of bias, like, you're calling them a cheat, like, you're saying they're corrupt. Like, that's quite a big
That's a big claim to make.
accusation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, people need to chill out.
Yeah, exactly. But we did have a massive comeback on the Saturday. Tigers versus Bears. It was 19-0 to Leicester Tigers. Bristol Bears dead to rights, and then Max Heath, of all players,
Yeah, yeah, of all
decided,
people.
no, I'm going to score two, going to gas right back in it, and Magnus Bradbury eventually getting the winner. Obviously, Mike Brown did get a red card before that, but oh, I don't know what is going on. Since the Six Nations, Bristol Bears has been absolutely cooking. And I want to know where this Bristol Bears team's been actually hiding.
I mean, it surprised everybody, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, just fair play to the coaches. They've used that time when everyone else was away at the Six Nations really well. Um,
Yes.
did you see Max Lahif's face when he scored the second try? I
Yeah,
love
it
that.
meant so much to him. I love it.
Hey, he was like a kid, playing on a Sunday again, like just where it's pure joy. Like, there's nothing else that, like, I love seeing that.
Yeah, can't beat that. Also, I'm a big sucker for like the changing room songs that
Oh
they'll
yeah,
sing
yeah.
and go around on social media. I love it. And Max, he won up to it by sinking a beer right before it. I love it. Can't beat that.
I saw a lot of discussion about is I always get his name mixed up. It's Van Rensburg, isn't it? The center.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bernard Rands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because the name is so long. But a
yeah.
lot of discussion about is he the most underrated player in the Prem? Because Bears fans absolutely love him. And he never gets talked about, when people are talking about the top players in the league.
He is very good, and he's an absolute steal. Obviously, he came from the demise of London Irish.
Hmm.
Fantastic player.
Great mullet.
But oh yeah, never right off the mullet. um, where do Newcastle Falcons go from here?
Yeah. Oh, look.
They put a lot of heart into it this week compared to last week against the Bears. That was embarrassing. But
Yeah.
they've
It's
not won a game
well, I mean,
all
what do you do?
campaign.
Oh, sorry, mate. Go ahead.
No, you go. I was just saying they've not won a game all season in the Prem.
Well, that's it though. What do you do, right? Like when you know in your heart of hearts going into a match that you're probably not going to win it every single week, how are you supposed to build on that? Like, and how even when they get to the end of this season, let's say they get a cash injection, right? Because there's been talk about maybe they get some investment, maybe they get some money so they can maybe sign some players. How many can you bring in? Because you've got a whole squad who are conditioned to just lose every game every week.
That's it, yeah. I don't know. I mean, can't even take anything away from the Newcastle crowd because it was our biggest attendance in years.
Like, the fact that people keep showing up, it shows you how much like what a great club that could be,
Oh
like,
yeah,
how
if
much
they start
roots
winning,
it has in the community.
if they
Yeah.
start winning and gels together, it's gonna be great to up in the north.
Oh, we hope so, man. Because like you don't want to see. I mean, yeah, I know they're existentially they're fine, right? Like one of the reasons it's been a bad year is they decided to get the finances in order and sort everything out. But yeah, it's tough. You don't like to see it.
No, you don't. Even just 1-1 at this point now. The last team to go winless in the Prem was London Welsh.
Wow.
Throwing back some names there. Yeah, that was a weird year. That's when I'm very sure they signed like Perry Weepu and Gavin Henson and all that, and still couldn't get a win.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. God, a winless season is that's
It's quite
bleak.
quite soul destroying, isn't it?
Yeah.
But to round off on the Prem, on a high for me anyway, Exeter Chiefs get a big win at Kingsholm, 38-17. Should have been more. I know that sounds bad,
I
but
watched
like
that game. It was very entertaining.
just made daft mistakes to get Gloucester back in it.
Yeah.
So many daft mistakes. But Ollie Woodburn is just like a fine wine at this point. Faye Woboso, we talk about him all the time. He just either outruns you or just runs through you.
He's a strong boy, isn't he?
Just determined to get through or past, and it's unreal. Henry Slade obviously controlling the tempo very
I was going to
nicely.
say, little word for Henry Slade, top individual point scorer in the league. Just what a season he's had.
What a man.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to stick with the Chiefs now because there is a rumour that's came out, and we're finally going to get a big signing. Nobody's leaving. Well, there are players leaving, but it's nice to see somebody actually coming in. 26-year-old Australian international Hunter Paisami seems to be reported over in Australia that Chiefs are offering big money, long-term deal to get him down to Sandy Park. And yes, please. All
He's
the
having,
yes.
he's having a great season.
Oh,
He's on fire. He's just a good player, isn't he? Like, and the sort of player you can imagine coming over and doing really well in the Prem.
yeah, he just fits that mold.
Yeah. And I guess from his perspective, it's a long time before the World Cup yet. It's not as if the Australian setup need to get much more of a look at him. Like, I think everybody knows what he can do.
Yeah.
Um, so why not? If you're him, take a year, two
Plus,
years.
I think he's got enough caps now that he could still play against like,
Oh,
the
could
Lions.
he? Oh, okay, so
I
he wouldn't
think
even have to come back.
I'm not sure. I'd like to think I feel like he's got enough caps. I feel like he hasn't missed much games since
I mean, he's
his
played a lot.
debut. He
Yeah.
has. Yeah, just all the yes. Bring Hunter Paisami to the Premiership. Bring him down to Sandy Park. Why not? It'd be great. Him and Henry Slade in centres. Yes, please. Love that. We're going to go across the URC because it's too close to call. The gap between 5th and 11th is 6 points. We have
Yeah.
3 games to go. It's ridiculous. Friday night did not disappoint. Ulster getting a massively important one against Benetton, 38-34. Scarlets was, I suppose it was deemed a dead rubber match.
Yeah. You know what though? Before just quickly on Ulster and Benetton, really important points for Benetton too.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Those two
absolutely.
bonus points, massive for them.
I think if their kicking was a bit more on point, they would have stole that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Ulster just looks so shaky. I know they've got good moments in them, but all's not right
Overall, yeah,
behind the scenes there.
very hot and cold team.
Yeah.
Sharks getting a win, which gives them nice momentum into this weekend, but we'll get back into that later on. Saturday, a lot happened on Saturday.
Yeah.
Glasgow, very comfy win over Zebra. Now league leaders. That was very expected because Zebra started the season fairly strong and they've just got back to where they always are.
Yeah.
Bulls at Loftus, back to regular scheduled programming there.
Like what you'd
61-24
expect, yeah.
over the Ospreys. Yeah. Edinburgh getting a big win over Cardiff, which I love. It was not a fun game though. It was really frustrating to watch. 24 points to 7, so it looked comfy on the scoreboard, but we just made everything difficult. Like Duhan van der Merwe, very lucky not to get a red card at the start of the second half. Pierre Schumann playing the pantomime villain, which was a new one for him. Yeah, it was a strange game, but you know what? I'll take the win.
Yeah.
We're,
Look, at this
we're
stage of the season.
We're a point behind Benetton. We're 9th right now, but anything can happen.
What's your run in?
Continuing their lovely, successful South African tour. 33-13 over the Lions, who blitzed Leinster the week before.
Yeah.
Strange
Munster
times.
developing a bit of fear factor over there in South Africa. Like looking on socials, South African fans, they don't like playing Munster at home.
So strange because they take on all comers at home.
Is there a better second row partnership anywhere than Ty Byrne and RG Snyman? That's about as good as it gets at club level, I think.
In the Northern Hemisphere, anyway, it's definitely hard to beat.
Yeah.
Especially now that like RG's actually like fit, healthy, back to playing.
It's funny because he's injured so often, you forget how good he is, like how broad his skill set is. Like he's just a giant dude who's so good at rugby. Like it really isn't. It's not complicated.
No, it's not that hard.
He's unreal.
It's not complex, but it didn't go well for Leinster on their South African tour. But we expected it. They have a big semi-final coming up. They weren't going to take all the big boys out. It was never going to happen. And Stormers had an absolute field day with that.
Yeah, they enjoyed themselves.
They did.
But
you know what? Sometimes it's good to enjoy yourself on the rugby field.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, like from a Leinster fan's perspective, good minutes for some of those Leinster players, like Sam Prendergast getting the start at 10 and getting to play in a really, really difficult environment like that.
Yeah,
that will stand him in good stead going forward. You know.
Yeah, I agree. There's big learning curves for the Leinster team, but I don't even know how to think about it because for me, the South African tour essentially ruined or potentially ruined Edinburgh's season because we were doing quite well. Got to South Africa. I think we went to South Africa 4th in the league, and then we're 9th.
Yeah,
it's obviously how tight it is as well. Shows you, but like it ruined our season so far, and doesn't seem to affect Leinster at all. Like, yeah, they got beat badly twice, and they go, okay.
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends when it hits you in your season, right? Like, there are definitely you'd rather have that tour right at the beginning or right at the end of the season. Because if it's right at the end, you can make a judgment and you know, right, we need to go fully loaded here and we need to make an effort, or we need to bring the kids basically and leave everyone else at home. Right at the start of the season, there's enough left that if you get hockeyed out there, you can rescue it. But if it's in the middle of the season and you've got players injured and there's international commitments and all those sort of things bubbling around, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah. Also, Connacht beat the Dragons, which we expected because didn't expect it to be as tight though.
No, they did it the hard way.
Sometimes it's better to do it the hard way. I never said easier there to do it, but it's not. It's obviously not easier to do it the hard way. I knew what I meant. But next week, there's no predictions for the URC or the Prem because it's the juicy part now. Semi-final European rugby. Challenge Cup first. We've got Sharks versus Clermont at Twickenham Stoop of all places.
Yeah. I mean, I reckon they'll get a good crowd. There's a lot of South Africans in London.
Yeah, true. It'll be fun. It'll be a really good game.
I
can't decide who I'm backing though. Because Clermont have smoked teams recently.
Yeah.
Sharks have been comfy for the most part of the Challenge Cup. But then started making it difficult in the round of 16 and the quarters.
I make, looking at the teams and the fact that it's in London, I definitely make Claremont underdogs. So
yes,
I think I'm rooting for Claremont, but I think the Sharks will get it done. Like, just when you look at their team sheet when everyone's available, they're so good.
I think it's all Sharks have this season.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to chuck everything at it. They're going to go full whack, and they're going to just try and hurt Claremont. Whether it's in London or South Africa, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll say Sharks for the win as well.
You remember before the World Cup when the South Africans played the All Blacks at Twickenham, and it was like 2,000 New Zealand fans and 78,000 South African fans. It was just a sea of green. I reckon the Stoop will be like that as well.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's going to be a sight to see, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm actually annoyed because I would have tried to go.
Yeah,
if I was here, but I mean, yeah, I've got a good reason not to be here. So
you've got a good reason. It's all good. Well, I'm not going to any because I'm still not feeling great, and knowing my luck, I'd get really ill down there, and I'd have to drive all the way home. And yeah, no,
hey, you can enjoy it all on TV.
Exactly. I could sit with the kids and watch it if need be, and have Paw Patrol on at the side. All the good stuff. Second semi-final of the Challenge Cup, Gloucester versus Benetton. Both teams coming into this game now with shaky form. It's going to be such a good game, though. It's going to be very loose.
Yeah.
Because again, Gloucester have nothing to play for.
Yeah, this is their whole season, right?
This is their whole season, yeah. Because they're out of any contention in the league. The gap's too massive for them. Benetton still have something to play for in the URC, but they want to make history. They want to be back in those finals.
Oh yeah, I mean, it'd be great to see them win something, wouldn't it? Like, I'd let well to get to a final.
Plus, I'm still very bitter that Gloucester beat Edinburgh for the final. So, we'll go for Benetton to win.
I want Benetton to win, but I think Gloucester will win.
I think the fact it's at Kingsholm and like it's like their whole season rides on this, and the Gloucester faithful, they are a loud bunch.
Yes, and they'll pack it out like it'll be a proper occasion.
Proper occasion. The shed will be absolutely bouncing.
Yeah,
Benetton's gonna win. Be fun.
I would love it. I would love
I'd love it.
Just to see the Italian teams doing well, be great.
Yeah, that's what we all deserve. It's what we all want.
Yeah.
On to the big one though, the Champions Cup semi-finals. Croke Park, Leinster, Northampton Saints, 85,000. And sold out like that.
Yeah.
Didn't even get a sniff at a ticket. I had it set. I was like, right, I'm gonna try and get to a neutral game. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, I know quite a few people who couldn't get them.
Didn't get looking.
Oh, with the people I know, it was generally complacency. People were like, "Oh, sure, it'll take a little while to sell out," but the fact that it sold out I mean, it was like 6 hours of general sale or something, wasn't it? It wasn't that long.
Yeah, it wasn't that long for a game of that magnitude. It didn't take very long. This is good. Like, we all know the history in this competition between Leinster and Saints. It produced one of the best finals I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't know. My head screams Leinster. Like, this is written in the stars. You're going to see a sea of blue at Croke Park. You're going to have practically the Irish national team there. They're going to go full whack. We know what they can do when they've got that caliber of players. But the Saints, they've got grit. They are you don't beat them easy. Again, they'll be going full whack as well. They'll be annoyed at the Quins game. Oh, I'd like to see Saints do it because it's been so long since we're even like in a sniff of a final, both domestically and European. but I can't see past Leinster. I think this might be too much of a task for Saints.
It's a big ask, isn't it? Like, you know, you're going to have 70 odd thousand probably Leinster fans in there. It's going to feel like a huge occasion. Like you say, they'll go fully loaded. Saints had to play a lot of first team players against Quins. Like they were only a couple off the full complement really, and that game would have taken a lot out of them because that was a big occasion as well. So like it all seems set up for Leinster to just win. But if you're Saints, you'll be thinking if you can start well, because like the big problem they had against Quins at the weekend was they started so badly. They conceded a try after like a minute, and at that point you're just playing catch up the whole rest of the game. And Ireland are a bit like France in that if they get an early score, they can blow you away inside like 20, 30 minutes, and the game can be basically gone from them.
Yeah.
So Saints need to avoid that happening. Because if I'm the Leinster coaching team this week, I'm thinking we just blow them away. Like we give them absolutely everything at the start, and then hopefully by the time they have their patch, because you know they will, they're a really good team.
Cool.
The game gone. If you're Saints, you're thinking, let's just stay, let's hang in there, let's niggle, because all the crowd going to that game are going for a party. Like everyone's expecting Leinster to win. Everybody thinks it's going to be a procession. So if you can hold them out for sort of 20 minutes and start to make everyone feel very nervous, then suddenly that big crowd starts to work against you. And yeah, I reckon that's what Saints will be after anyway. Good start.
I'm excited though. I get to sit back and just enjoy.
I reckon we'll see some great tries.
I hope so.
They're both proper rugby teams, so we'll definitely see some.
I know we're going to see guaranteed try fest in the second semi-final. Toulouse versus Quins, technically in a neutral venue, because it's in the Toulouse football ground. That's not neutral. Who are we kidding?
Yeah, I mean, it's the home country advantage is the language they use in the rules, isn't it? So
yeah, it's just when they were like, it's a neutral venue, and it's Toulouse, I'm like, that's not neutral. It's the same city.
Yeah, I mean,
you've actually just gave one of the most rowdy fan bases more seats. That's all you've done. It's got to be Toulouse, isn't it?
I mean, it's got to be. But we all said it had to be Bordeaux.
True. That's
Toulouse are quite a bit better though. I think.
The bit I love about this, if anyone was to do a shock, it would be Quins.
Yeah,
it's built into them. Like you've said this already. It's how they play. They just let's run it from our own 5 meter line. Why not? Because that's what everyone thinks.
If you're going in as underdogs against Toulouse,
let's go for it.
Yeah,
you've got absolutely nothing to lose.
There's no point trying to play like a tight game. Like they just have too many good players. Like you're not going to keep them out. What I loved about the Quins' performance in Bordeaux was there was the bravery they showed every time they got the ball. Like they never retreated into themselves and tried to take the safe option. They were always trying to counterattack and always trying to score. And I hope they do that again. But the trouble with that is that like if you try and play that way and you make 2 or 3 big errors in a row in possession, you can find yourself 20 points down and the game's just over. So I really hope that doesn't happen.
We said that against with the Toulouse Chiefs game from the quarters that Toulouse only played well for, 15 minutes?
All they had to do.
It's so ridiculously stupid and unfair that teams could do that.
I mean, God, like, just when you go through the team, like, there's absolute class everywhere in that team. There's no holes. Like, where do you poke a hole in that Toulouse team? You know? And when the bench comes on, still no holes, still great players.
Takes a
piss. I wonder what Quins I wonder what the feeling is inside the camp. Because it definitely has to feel like an impossible task.
It's when the squads all come out, and obviously you see your opposition, and you're looking at that Toulouse team, and you're just sitting like, Jesus. Dupont, Intermac, Aki, Lobel, Ramos, Kinghorn.
Ramos might not even start.
So
if you're the Quins coaches, here's one. If you're the Quins coaches, are you picking Kerr or are you picking Porter to start?
I'd pick Porter. The way he's going right now, I'd pick Porter.
I'd be
Because,
tempted. It'll give Toulouse something to think about as well, like someone that they probably won't be able to do much analysis on, someone who's a bit newer, because Dupont and Kerr must have played against each other loads of times.
yeah, true. Also, hasn't Will Porter scored like 4 tries in 2 games now?
Yeah, he's been unreal.
Yeah, just
You know,
yeah, why not?
maybe you need some of that youth. It feels like a double-edged sword because on the one hand you want someone experienced to mark Dupont, but then it's like maybe you should just accept that you can't really mark him and you play to your own strengths and you pick someone who you think might be able to spring you a surprise, and that would be Porter.
Hmm. I mean, you've got Tyrone Green on the back as well. Well, I love Tyrone Green. I cannot praise him enough. But it's going to be good. I really can't see past Toulouse. I could see. I'm a bit more hopeful that Saints could do a job on Leinster than I am
I
Quince
think
doing
the
a
odds
job on
are the
Toulouse.
odds are narrower. Like the gap is narrower between those two teams than it is between Quins and Toulouse. Because like sometimes Quins just can't defend at all and they get cut to ribbons. And if they're in that sort of form, Toulouse could go and get 60 again, easily.
I mean, they still could. It could be like if you let both teams just go for it and defense isn't a thing, it's going to be like 65-58 or some stupid thing like that.
That's what we want to see. That would be
That's what I
amazing.
want.
But that's the thing is Toulouse can defend though. That's the difference.
Oh yeah, yeah, they can. Jack Willis. I mean, I've said that before. Change the rules just for him alone.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. Francois Kroos is an absolute pain in the ass on the defensive side. Emmanuel Miafo is a big lump for a second row.
Flamont, and then whichever one of the Arnold twins they've got.
I think they've only got one now. I'm sure
Yeah.
one left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know who's still there.
It's Richie. Richie
That's
Darnell.
Richie. Okay.
Cyril Bay is there. Julian
Yeah.
Marchand.
Oh, that's it.
No,
Yeah.
you've got
Morvanko with
yeah.
Morvanko to start and Cyril Bay to come off the bench. Like that's mad.
Oh,
And that
yeah.
kid, the number 8, Rumat, doesn't look bad either.
They're taking the piss. They really are. It's just stacked down in Toulouse. So what we're saying, Leinster Toulouse Championship final,
Yeah, I think so.
and a Sharks Benetton Challenge Cup final.
I wish, but I think Sharks Gloucester probably.
Sharks Gloucester seems the safest bet. That's fair. Well, that's all the predictions. Has there been any rugby news really, apart from Billy Vanapola possibly being a bad boy in Spain?
Big Billy needing 2 tasers to take him down. I love that. England bringing in these central contracts for next season.
Finally,
Yeah,
I'm all for it because I don't want to see another Premiership team die.
yeah. And I mean, they've got to sort out this thing with players leaving. Like, but again, it's like if you look at the overseas, everybody talks about how many players are overseas right now. Of the guys who are playing in France, and even when Ludlam goes next year and all that kind of stuff, you're only really, in terms of people who could be regulars, is Willis. And Arundel is someone you'd probably want to have a look at as an England coach.
Willis, Arundel, and you maybe argue on Farrell.
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot he was going. Yeah, but he's gone on a sabbatical, right? His aim is to come back. That's what he said.
Right.
Like, I'm going to go there for 2 years and then I'm going to come back. So I think that's slightly different. But yeah, even if it's just those 3, why wouldn't you just make exceptions? Like, you can easily make an exception for Farrell.
Yep.
Easily for maybe Arundel doesn't have enough caps, and you could say that's someone who they have to make a choice. But like, how you haven't allowed Jack Willis? We all know how good he is. He's been class for a long time. How you're not allowing him to get selected is just beyond me.
I don't know. I'd love to see a back row of Cunningham South, Jack Willis, and Ben Earl.
Mate.
I mean, I'd love to see it, but I also wouldn't want to see it because no.
If you've got the depth that they would have in the second row and in the back row, because they've been using Chesham at 6, right? But if you don't have to do that, and your second row options are basically Martin, Itoje, Chesham, and then your back row options are Willis, Earl, Underhill, Cunningham South. Who else have they got? I mean, there's more Roots. Like, there's loads of players who are kind of there or thereabouts. That's ridiculous depth.
Yeah.
Again, also don't want to see it.
No, yeah, I want to see it, but I don't want to see it.
I think Cunningham South is super impressive.
Yeah,
You look at
I'm
him
a
and
big
you're
fan.
like, he's not exactly the same player as Laws, but you look at him and you think like, if there's anyone who's coming up who could maybe fill that hole, because Laws is going to leave such a huge hole in the England team, maybe it's him, because he doesn't melt people the same way, but he carries unbelievably well. Um,
Actually, sorry. Speaking of Courtney Laws, did you see the clip from the Love of Rugby pod? Dan Cole and Ben Young's podcast. They had Courtney Laws on, and they were talking about tackling and all that. And because Ben Young thinks he could drop somebody, that was a joke.
right.
And Courtney Laws like, no, it's built into you. And Ben Young's, I'm fucked. I'm actually fucked. Like, it's quite funny to listen to. And Dan Cole's just sitting there like, you've not got a chance, Ben. Just sitting there so cold faced, just not today. But yeah, the depth England have possibly in the back row's frightening.
Yeah.
And it's change the rule for Jack Willis. I don't care. I'm not too fussed about Arundel because they've got, yes, he's very good, but
Yeah.
you have got talent there. You've got Hassel Collins, you've got Caden Murray,
But
George
it showed
Furber.
you how quick things changed. Like Arundel was flavor of the month at the World Cup, and it's Faye Waboso now. Like
Exactly, yeah.
you missed that window. It can
There's
be
always
costly.
going to be someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's practically it. Oh, Magnus Bradbury's coming home. Yes, finally. I thought it was only a year he's been away. It's been 2 years he's been away. So
Okay.
there you go. But I'm happy with that. I made a joke about it in
Got the winner,
January.
didn't he? On Saturday?
Scored the winner against the Tigers, yeah. And he's just got so much better. It's going to benefit Edinburgh. It's going to benefit Scottish Rugby having him there. Alec Hepburn's left Chiefs to go to Scarlets. Strange signing, but I imagine that's to do with international duties as well. That it's a bit more easier for the Scarlets to go, all right, cool, Scotland, don't worry. Whereas obviously Premiership Rugby go, no, he's ours. Sorry, wait another week. That's the only reason I could think that he's there. Who else has signed? Paul Hill, Northampton Saints props coming up to Edinburgh. He's still not even 30. I thought he was a lot older than
Really?
that. Yeah, I convinced myself that it was like he's going to come up for a year and then retire and become like scrum coach or something like that. No, he's 29 or 30 years old.
That's, I mean, especially for a prop, that's not old. Like a
That's not
lot of guys have their best years the last couple of years of their career anyway, because all that experience, you know. So yeah, he's still got some miles in the tank.
see him in the summer tour. I don't know. I know he's one of those that can change because he's not been capped in a while. So
Okay.
again, I'm just speculating at this point. I imagine that there's always it's never just we want to sign this player when it comes to Glasgow and Edinburgh. There's always a dirty little secret behind it. I'm all for it though. It's all good. Adam Hastings is coming home. Yeah, there's lots of homecomings.
There's quite a lot of rumor in the Irish provinces. I've seen a bit of an exodus from Leinster, like a lot of players getting shared out among Connacht and Ulster, particularly.
Connacht signed Pierce O'Connor. I've seen that from
did they?
Yeah,
That's a great signing. He's a good player.
and he's Irish qualified.
Is he now?
There he is. And apparently Connacht beat Munster to get him, which is
Really?
that's ridiculous to think about.
I guess it's just he knows he's going to play at Connacht.
Oh yeah, Bundyaki and Pierce O'Connor in the centres.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Because if you go to Munster, you've got to get rid of, because I saw Frisch is going to stay for at least another year. So if you go to Munster, you've got to unseat Nankerville, who looks class, or Frisch.
You're not unseeing my boy. I love Alex.
He looks unbelievable.
Good guy as well. Really
Oh,
good guy. Yeah. Hopefully meet him soon.
Well, just tell him to sit tight and get qualified from me. We all want to see him wear that
I
jersey.
want to say that he is qualified, but I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. I thought he was doing the residency.
Probably. I mean, he's young enough as well.
Yeah, exactly.
He's worth the wait. Don't worry, Irish fans.
Mate, I love watching him.
He's so good. But yeah, that's the rugby. Back next week with all things semi-finals.
Yeah.
Four massive games to talk about next week. So we're probably a bit more in depth for next week. And obviously, Andy, enjoy Croke Park.
Yeah, thanks. I hope I do. I hope it's a good result for us.
Hopefully, it's worth the occasion for sure.
Oh, it'll definitely be an occasion. I'm feeling very pleased with the last time Leinster played in Croke Park. I was also there in 2009 when we beat Munster. But my memories of it aren't that clear. I only really remember that was the game where Johnny Sexton screamed in Ronan McGowan's face. Yeah.
No, my favourite joke to now, because it's doing the rounds on social media, is the last rugby game that was played at Croke Park is when Scotland actually beat Ireland. They're like, yay! Good memory. Dan Park being the hero. Yeah, that's mental. That's 14 years ago.
I was at that game as well.
There you go. See, Croke Park special to Andy. He's always there.
I've tried to block that one out. Do you know, I blocked that one out of my mind so much. I was so sure that game was in the Aviva. And when I saw that stat that Scotland were the last team to win at Croke Park, I was like, that can't be right. But I know I was there because I remember Dan Park kicking the goals. But I'd wiped it out of my mind. I'd put it back in the old Lansdowne.
To be fair, I convinced myself for a while that the last time we won was at Lansdowne, or the Aviva, but no, it was at Croke Park.
Yeah, I remember because like the Irish crowd, it gets a bit complacent sometimes at national games, and because we were fairly consistently behind in that game, like we were always chasing.
Yeah, we were not comfortable, but we were always.
No, but you were controlling the scoreboard, like
yeah.
And it's just that moment with about like 5 or 6 minutes to go when the penny suddenly drops and everyone's like, "Oh Jesus, we might lose this." Like this game's gotten away from us. It was horrible. It was a terrible day.
Similar times. Yeah, enjoy Croke Park.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I hope you feel better, and we'll.
I hope so. It's really annoying now. Constantly drinking water, and I'm fed up of it. Flavored water does only get you so far.
I hate to break it to you, mate. You should be constantly drinking water, whether you're ill or not.
No, I know, but I like the variety. But constantly having to drink water is just boring. Anyway, Rugby Connection podcast. We are on YouTube. Hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell for all episodes like this. We're on Spotify. If you don't want to watch me and Andy's face, you could just simply listen to our soothing voices. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. Go and give Andy a follow over on TikTok at RugbyNoz. If you like what I do, give me a follow at Boss for Rugby HQ. We're both on LinkedIn. If you're interested in that, I don't know. I always plug LinkedIn because I'll share the pod, but that's about it. Yeah, and we'll see you next week with all things semi-final action. Until then, see you next time.
Next time, guys.